All right, awesome. Thank you guys for taking the time and hopping on tonight. I know our calls are normally 8:30, but with some of us being moms and having our crazy sporting schedules, we pushed it back to 9. So thank you guys for, taking the time and being on these calls. I'm just going to give a couple updates. We do have our Fixate cooking show that's now on Beachbody On Demand. So if you have Beachbody On Demand, make sure you check that out, or, let your challengers know that we have that too, just because it's so much better to watch people make these healthy recipes, and it's just easier to, see how they make it. In the 20s, it's on Beachbody On Demand as well. I think this is the 3rd week now. They put a new episode on there every Monday. I love it. I watch it every Monday. I missed last night, but I'm going to watch it tonight. But it's like a reality show, and it's just fun. And then our health bet. You guys need to take advantage of this health bet. Because, I've been coaching for, almost 3 years now, and never has Beachbody ever done any type of contest like this since I've been coaching, and this is huge. So make sure all your old challengers know about it, and if you're promoting to new people as well, make sure you're doing it hardcore right now, because it starts September 5th, which means they're going to need their workouts and Shakeology starting September 5th, that first week. Because if they're not logging, if they miss a log that first week, then they're automatically not going to be able to split that pot. So definitely keep that in mind, and definitely utilize it to your advantage hardcore right now. And I'm going to introduce Katie. She is going to be talking to us tonight about her tips on her 5-day free groups. She's very successful with it. Her team's successful with it. And I know a lot of them get a lot of their Success Club points from their free groups. So she's going to share that with us tonight. She's a 5-star diamond, 2015 Premier Coach, Success Club 10 All-Star, which means she has hit Success Club 10 or more for 12 months in a row and more. She's a full-time coach, a mom, a wife, and she is just an awesome person. She's on the Rochester Market Consult with me as well. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her give us her tips.
Cool. Well, thank you for having me. It's so funny because Ashley spoke on my team call last night, so I feel like it's like now it's reversed from last night. So you guys can hear me fine, right? Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started right away. All right, and I'm going to start my slideshow. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys about free groups tonight and cleaning up your clean eating groups. First, a little bit about me. These pictures, I can't even believe they're of me, but there I am in all my glory. I joined as a discount coach after gaining a ton of weight with my pregnancy, especially my first. That's me up in the left-hand corner there. That was after giving birth to my son 5 years ago. And yes, right after you give birth, you're overweight and stuff anyways, but my goodness, I had just really, really, really packed it on. I resigned from teaching after I had him. So he's 5 now, and my daughter's almost 3. And decided to be a stay-at-home mom. It was a little tough going from 2 incomes to 1, but we kind of always planned for that. I'll get into that a little bit more later, but I joined as a discount coach. I wasn't really planning to make any kind of money or make this any kind of a career, but my coach, a couple months after, joining, she's like, if you want to run one of these free clean eating groups, I have all the materials for you. All you have to do is take it and run with it. And I was like, well, I might as well give it a shot, because that's where I started. I started with one of these free 5-day clean eating groups. I lost 7 pounds in 5 days, and it really just opened my eyes to what I needed to do in order to lose weight. So I went ahead and tried one, and I never looked back. And I have been hosting a free group and followed by a paid group every single month since jumping in. So I started backing up a little bit. I started coaching October 2013 after my daughter was born officially, and then I started actually working the business a couple months later, so maybe like January, February, March, somewhere in there, and started hosting groups every single month. And that's where my coach has really put all of her effort and time, and that's how she trains us. That's her system, and that's what I've done, and that's what I pass on to my coaches. It's very duplicatable, which I like, and I know some people, some teams do it other ways, and that's totally fine, but this really works. So I want to make sure I can share these tips for you guys if you ever want to do free groups. So let's jump right in. So the purpose of free groups: provide free content. I mean, you hear that all the time from like Chalene Johnson and other people who, do those kinds of trainings. You have to provide some kind of free content, and that's what that is. Grow your contact list. This is probably my biggest reason for doing them. This is where I get all my contacts. Yes, I go through and I do, lots of friend requesting of, my best friend's friends and my husband's friends, wives and all that kind of stuff. And actually gave us some really, really good tips yesterday where she gets some of her contacts. But this is where I grow my contact list, and this is where I teach my coaches to grow their contact list. And I'll talk more about that and how we sort of really use that to our advantage as we're putting on these groups and advertising for these groups going forward. We want to show people what an accountability group is. This is where, I always say this to my coaches, this is where I get people to fall in love with me. And I know that sounds so weird and kind of, it kind of sounds even like cocky, but you've probably heard, we're not selling Beachbody, we're selling ourselves. There's hundreds of thousands of Beachbody coaches out there. And, you got to find what makes you unique and why people choose you to, as their coach. And this is what I use that group for. I mean, those 5 days, we just pour into people those 5 days. And that's where we really show people why an accountability group works. I mean, anyone can lose weight, without Shakeology and without a workout, but paired with those two things and the accountability piece of a coach, I mean, it is just, you're setting people up for success. And that's where you have to show people, why it's worth the money. And it gives you a platform to build relationships, sort of what I was talking about. This is where I really build my relationships. Okay, so that's the why. That's why we do the free groups. All right, the how. This is the most important. So the first thing you have to do is decide what kind of free group you want to offer. We do mostly 5-day clean eating groups, so that's what I'm going to focus on. But some people, I find, some of my coaches, especially a couple of my new coaches, they just have not had any luck with their free clean eating groups. So they've done hydration groups, which I'm actually trying this month. And then some people get creative. I mean, there's no reason you can't get creative. And this system can work, I think, with any free group if you're doing it. If you're following certain steps during it. Let's see, some people did like a plank and I can't remember, was a plank and like booty one or something. I mean, you can really, really get creative and put things together. I also did one recently where I provided daily workouts for people. So they had to do the daily workout, and then I provided a menu and a couple other things in a different sort of way. But my point is, you got to kind of find out what your audience likes and go from there. But I'm going to focus on the 5-day clean eating group because I think they really, really work well. I always schedule it for the very end or beginning of the month, sort of that week. And the reason for that is because I schedule it for that week, build my relationships, I schedule my paid group 2 weeks later, and then you hit Success Club in the beginning of the month, and you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to worry about Success Club. I mean, you're still working your business and inviting all the time and building relationships all the time. But it's such a relief if, by the second week of the month, and your Success Club points are taken care of. You've helped your 3 to 5 people. If you have a team you're building, you can focus on your team. You can focus on, inviting to the business or whatever it is, that you're focusing on. It's just so nice, okay? I always advertise on Sunday or Monday evening. And I always make sure to say that it's open only to those not working with a coach. And I still get people who want to join me, but that's where some of the private message comes in. I'll talk about that later. And the reason for that is because Sunday, Monday nights, I mean, I always think about it like this. The weekend's over. Most people have been eating and drinking and partying all weekend. They're ready for something. They want to do something. A lot of people are scrolling Facebook on Sunday and Monday nights. Thursday or Friday, a lot of people aren't thinking about taking that, making that commitment of eating clean for 5 days straight. So that's why I do it on Sunday or Monday night. I always create a public event. I post in it daily. So I may create, you can really create the public event anytime, invite lots of people. And then within that event, I'm like constantly posting things that will circulate it, you know, questions or pictures or whatever, to get people commenting and liking, because then it shows up in other people's news feeds. Because here's where you're going to grow your contact list. Make sure it's public. You have to make sure, you guys probably know this, but you have to make sure it's public before you create it. Otherwise, you got to delete it and start it over again. Within that event, this is where I offer my incentives for referrals. Basically, like right now, I've got, if you check out, I just posted it last night, I've got a wine bottle, oh, not a wine bottle, a water bottle that says, like, it's a pink water bottle, and it says, you know, this could be wine. So it's like, I can't remember how much it was, like $15. I ordered it. I saw it popped up on my Facebook feed. I ordered it. So I'm doing a giveaway for that for anyone who invites a friend. They get 1 entry. If they invite 2, they get 2 entries into the prize drawing for this water bottle. You'd be surprised how many people will invite people to join these kind of groups for a little stupid water bottle. I mean, it's crazy. The first time I did this with water bottles, I mean, I think I got 80 new contacts from that one group. People were just inviting like crazy just for this one referral. Some people on our team have had luck doing, like, you know, if you invite a friend and you both finish the group, then you both get a free sample of Shakeology. Like, that's another one you could do. Now with that one, you know, that's more for like a 5-day, make sure it's for a 5-day clean eating group, and that's important to say you finish it, because we've got certain guidelines they need to follow. Because sometimes you find people refer their friends and then you never hear, you know, you message their friends, you don't hear from them. Like that, for me, I don't count that. I just want to make sure I put that out there. If it's a true referral, it's someone who I can have a conversation with, and then I consider them a referral and they decide to join my group. So I always offer some kind of incentive for a referral. Usually it's a water bottle. Sometimes I'll do like one of those workout tanks from Target or something, usually like $10 to $15 I'll spend. I always also invite people privately. I mean, this goes without saying, I think, but you know, you can't underestimate the power of the private message. I think I know I look at, you know, coaches who are further along than me, and I always think they must have people knocking on their door to buy challenge packs and join their groups, and the truth is they don't. They're private messaging all the time. Okay. Next, this is something I don't do all the time, but if my groups start to get huge, like over 100 people, I'll create a Google form to get their info. So basically like a Google Doc kind of thing, you know, where you can ask the questions and then they answer them like a survey, and then you get their responses. And it's a good way to organize. It's a good way to find out if people have a coach. It's a good way to find out if they've ever done a Beachbody program. It's a good way to kind of get to know people without having that back and forth conversation, which is still important, but kind of getting the background on them with the form can be really helpful if your group gets huge. And sometimes they do. So then I move people to a private group on Thursday evening, you know, the week before. For 5 days, I share the grocery list by Friday or Saturday morning, just the grocery list. I'm going to talk more about this in the next couple ones. But for the 5-day cleaning groups, I'm very, very strict about posting the grocery list the weekend before, and then I post the daily menu each day before around noon. Okay, and then I post the guidelines. And I mean, I don't know how much of you guys have on this, but if you want me to share the guidelines we use, I certainly can. So I post each day's menu the day before, and this is basically to ensure they come back. If I give it out, you know, right in the beginning, all of it up front, I find that they take it and they run. The point of the accountability group, the point of the 5-day is, yes, I'm offering free content, and you know, there's no real investment. You know, with a 21-day group or 30-day group, they've invested in a product. They've spent $140 or $160. This has no investment. It's our group, so we need to own this. And I know for new coaches, sometimes that can be really difficult. I remember it being really difficult for me. But you're offering something like super valuable. We are valuable. The fact that we have the ability to hold them accountable, something that so many people miss when they're trying to lose weight or they're on a health and fitness journey. we need to show them our value, and we're not just there to give them a menu and let them walk away. We're there, that's their investment, is that they need to come back every single day and check in and get the menu. I also require pictures to be taken and sent by Monday. This is part of the accountability piece. I rarely have like any kind of negative reaction to this. Once in a while, I'll have someone come to me and say, I really don't want to take my pictures and send them. And I'll work with that person. I'm not going to say, get out of here, you can't be in my group. People, I see it all the time, my coaches don't require the pictures, and their free groups just don't run as well. They don't get the quality people, in staying in their groups if they don't require the pictures for this. The reason for the pictures as well is because the menus are set up, and I can share, a couple with Ashley if you guys want me to. The menus are set up so that if people follow it, they're going to lose 4, 5, 6. Sometimes I've had people lose 9 pounds in a week and not feel hungry. And when you see the picture side by side, I mean, it is incredible. People, that's where you get the person who's like, wow, I am falling in love with you. I want to move on to your next group. I want to do this. I'm going to do the 21 Day Fix hardcore. That person who may next rocks her coach. I mean, those are the people. So I really stick to requiring the pictures to be taken. It just, I've seen it both ways, and I think it works. I require the daily check-in, and I kick people out of my groups if they're not participating. I'll message them first and say, I noticed you haven't checked in. Is everything okay? Most of the time I hear back from them. Or if I don't have their pictures, I'll say, is now not a good time for you? And they'll tell, sometimes they'll say, I'll have my pictures to you tonight, or now it's not the right time for me. And, I let them know they can join my next one. I really very rarely had any kind of negativity to this, even though it seems like you would get a lot of kickback. Throughout the week, this is also key. I private message people the whole week, like almost every single day. That's why I'm building that relationship. If I have a 5-day clean eating group that, I've slacked on, or I haven't built a relationship, it shows in my successful points. I don't get people moving on to my next ones. I do daily live videos. I think when people can see you, I mean, we know this, the selfies and all that stuff. I mean, there's a reason behind all that stuff. People are seeing your eyes, they're hearing your voice, they're getting to know you, and they're getting to trust you. So I do daily live videos. I usually do one about drinking enough water. I do one about breaking the sugar cycle. I do one about working out. I do one about like healthy snacks and adding them in if you need to, and how big it should be and how small it should be. And then I also do one at the end, just kind of closing out the group, telling them what they need to know for the end of it. Kind of following up with how to go forward, introducing my 21-day or 30-day paid group and how they can get into it and what it is and all that kind of stuff. And I make sure people know that for my 21-day groups, we offer them menus. We offer them menus right up front. Their investment is the challenge pack, and I think that's the big difference. And I think a lot of people who have loved the 5-day group are like, it is awesome, but I cannot continue doing like 3 new recipes and all that kind of stuff every single day. And that's where it's like, well, that's why the 21-day group is good for you. And also, of course, I've built the relationship with them. I know their why. I know what they want to do. So I know what to offer them in terms of a challenge pack. Sorry, it looks like I have a typo on my slide here. So I share about my paid challenge group on usually Thursday evening or 9 p.m. and I follow up with a video on Friday. And I invite everyone who joined my 5-day group to my paid challenge group, even if I kick them out. If, like, let's say they fell off the wagon on Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever it is, I'll go back to that person and I'll find a reason why it would be good for them to join my 21-day group, depending on what their situation was and why they decided to drop off. If someone said, they couldn't keep up with the menu, or they didn't like what was on it, or, whatever. I mean, I know what went wrong, so I know why a 21-day group would work for them. I mean, because I think the 5-day groups, at least, the clean eating ones, are very, very strict. They're very, very sort of, you're kind of pigeonholed into what you have to do, while the 21-day group is so much more flexible. And I always like people to know that. With a 21-day group, you make your own menu. I mean, we all know, most of us have done the 21-day fix or the meal plan in some sort of capacity, that it really can work for everyone. While this menu might not be perfect for every single person. So I make sure I invite every single one to my paid challenge group in a meaningful sort of way that ties into their life. I feel like I talked really fast, so I'm going to close this out. And that is the end. But I'll definitely answer questions, and I can share anything you want with Ashley for your team or whatever.
No, that was really awesome. That's a lot of information. Somebody did say seeing the guidelines and the menu would be super helpful.
Absolutely. I can, I'll send the guidelines to Ashley, and I'll send a couple menus. Now for the menus, how I started with those, well, I got my first couple from my coach. She took, if anyone remembers from, if I remember this the Turbo Fire or a T25, like they gave out like a 5-day like hardcore kind of menu. So the first couple were from Turbo Quick, and the other one was the T25 one. And then from there, a couple coaches on our team have created some, and they've based it off of the 21-day fix. And it's basically, you know, if anyone, you know, I'll share a couple of ours, but if you feel like you need a new one, I can tell you how they do it. Basically breakfast, lunch, dinner, combine like the complex carb with a lean protein, and then 2 snacks in between, and it's right around a 1,200 calorie day. So it's sort, and I always make sure to tell people that it's a 5 days of like intense low calorie food plan. It's not meant to be continued. You should add 300 to 500 calories a day after for like a healthy weight loss. Obviously losing, you know, 5 to 10 pounds in 5 days is not something you want to continue forever. It's just kind of a jump start, like a, you know, like the 3-day refresh or whatever. So yes, I can definitely share those with you. And one more thing, what I do with the menu is I usually rotate 2. So, you know, in August I'll do one menu that I have, and then September I'll do the other one, and then I'll go back. Now, a lot of people, I have repeat people who join, but I think that I save some of those special menus for my 21-day challengers, just so that I don't have people continuously like just sticking with my 5-day. Even though that's fine with me, I don't mind my repeaters. It's just something I think has worked out well to kind of, you know, one and then the other.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask too. If you had like the same post all the time in your groups too, but yeah, that answers it.
I do the exact same post in my 5-day groups, and I can share the post. Let me write this down because I'm gonna forget. Don't forget to remind me if I forget to share. But I also have a posting guide, and I do the exact same posts for my 5 days. I mean, straight through, and I can just give it to someone else to load into my post uploader. I mean, it is literally the exact same thing. But I mean, I have repeaters and they don't seem to mind. And if they do, they can move into my 21-day group, in my opinion. So it works.
Do you start a new group every time, or do you keep it in that same group?
No, I start a new group every time. And I usually make a theme. So, you know, I'm actually doing a hydration group this month. But like in the summer, I did like a grilling one, and someone on our team had made a grilling 5-day cleaning menu. So it'll kind of go with the season, and then I'll make like a catchy name, a catchy banner, a catchy little ad or whatever. And you get, you know, as you probably know, you get quick at making those and whatever. But so yeah, I kind of changed the name, changed the group, whatever. And then I'll go back. So when I invite to my event, I always do it on my computer, because you can just click on, you know, my last event and invite all those same people from the last however long, you know. And once in a while I'll go back to my old clean eating groups, and I'll post in there about, you know, like maybe about the health vet, the Beachbody health vet or whatever, just to see if you can catch a few people from those old challenge groups.
Awesome. Anybody have any questions at all? You can put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand and I can unmute you.
I just want to thank you for sharing all that info. I need to liven up and switch up my free clean eating groups big time. I have their same repeaters over and over again, and
Mhm.
So thank you.
Mhm. Of course, and I know that happens. That happens to all of us with those. And I mean, there's something wrong with those repeaters. But if you can get those repeaters to bring new people, then they're worth it. But if not, then like, what are you doing? But maybe offering like a little incentive or whatever, that seems to help me a lot.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love the incentive idea. I've never would even have thought to do that either.
Yeah, I was, you know, what happened was in February, I like had my new contacts were really, really low after January. And I'm like, I got to do something. And it was just flooded in with those water bottles. And I kept posting, like, I don't know. That was, other times it keeps working, but that time was like really sticks out in my mind with, you know, I had the water bottles and people were like inviting like crazy, you know?
Hey, everyone likes a free gift.
They do, exactly. Another thing, some people, I did not think of this, so I can't take the credit, but someone on my team thought of it. She has people, and once in a while I'll do it in my group too. They get like an extra, so at the end I'll do another prize drawing, and I'll usually give away like a clean eating magazine or something. She has people take a picture of their food, like maybe it'll be an extra credit assignment on Thursday, to take a picture of their food throughout the day, like one picture or whatever, and then they'll post it to their profile picture and tag you. So that's another way to kind of get yourself circulating, and then you always get people always comment, you know, under that food, like, oh, what are you eating, or what are you doing, and what are, you know what I mean, and then you can kind of get in there and, you know, comment and maybe add a few friends that way as well. So that's another thing that people on our team do. And if I remember it, I do it, but I'm not always consistent about remembering. But that helps a lot too, and gets your name circulating on other people's feeds that maybe wouldn't necessarily see what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. So do you run? You do 2 prizes then?
I do. So I do one in the beginning of the week for referrals, and then I'll do one at the end for anyone who finished the group.
Okay.
So they have to have, you know, they have to be basically still in the group. So have checked in every day, sent me their pictures, their before and after pictures. Yeah, I think that's basically the requirements. So I'll usually do, I don't think I have one laying around here, but I'll pick up like a clean eating magazine. You see those at Wegmans?
Yeah.
I think I must have gotten rid of all mine today. I just mailed out a bunch. But I'll usually do a clean eating magazine. It's like $5. So it goes right along with, you know, the group. And then in the beginning, I'll usually do a water bottle. It's usually from Wegmans, but this time I saw the pink one and I had to get that one instead.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, I have one more question, and then I'll shut up. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah. Because you start new groups, and I know you normally do get a lot of people in your free groups. So
Yeah.
do you have a special way that you basically, I guess, keep them in one place so you remember all those contacts that you have? For it, I guess.
Yes, this is a good question because this is what Ashley talked about last night. I do something similar to what you talked about. Okay, I don't have mine laying around here, but I do like, instead of your BAT, I do a power hour sheet. So that's basically where I track my people. But for my clean eating groups, I have a notebook and I write everybody down in the notebook. It's not as organized as your stuff, but you know, I'll just make a full list, and I use pen and paper, and I'll just you know, if you know, put a check mark. Usually I have like a whole like line of check marks that I check with them the first day, the second day, the third day, the fourth day, and who did I kick out and why did I kick them out and all that kind of stuff. So then I can go back and you know, invite them to the 21-day group afterwards. And one more thing I was going to say about that. What was it? Oh, I know. And then for like during the week, I'll go right straight through I'll just click into my group. I'll go right straight through the members, and I'll message them right from there every single night. Like, you know, how'd you do? Blah, 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 you know, whatever. And I'll go through their check-in and comment on that too. So that's how I keep track. It's not super not super exciting. You can there is like an easier way on Excel that I've done once or twice, but I'm just not as good about that as I should be.
I go back and forth with all of my different ways too. I never stick to one.
It's so hard. I need to hire someone to track for me. That's what I need to do. Is that possible?
Speaking of the bat, did I ever send that to you?
No, but if you do, I would love that. Some of my girls were asking me. That would be great.
Kara said she has a clean eating magazine if she wants us to hold it up. Yeah. Let's see it.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, so I like stockpile those. That one, Eating Well. I think they're both like $5 or $5.99, something like that, and I'll send that out. We don't do a whole lot with, at least in the beginning, like my new coaches, I don't train them to do a ton of like page stuff. I mean, eventually, obviously, I think like pages is the way to go eventually. But so I think like this is sort of the investment. You know, some people go right to the like pages and invest. So I know, you know, some of my new coaches are, you know, don't want to put a ton of money in, but I don't think it's a ton considering my newer coaches at least aren't putting a lot of money into their like pages. Does that make sense? I mean, right now I'm obviously putting more money into my like page, but it's, you know, for my newer coaches, I think it's worth it to offer the incentive and spend a little on the prizes and stuff like that.
Yeah, very true. All right. Anyone else have any questions at all? No. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for speaking on our call tonight. That was a lot of really good information, and I'll get the guidelines from you too, and I'll send that back to you too. I'll send it now.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll get on right now and send you the other stuff as well, so I don't forget.
All right, perfect. And I'll share that with you guys in our group too as soon as I get that. All right, awesome. Thank you guys for hopping on. Thank you again, Katie, and I hope you guys have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye, guys.